This is news from Nintendo Enthusiast. The headline says, Reggie gives an official statement on a Nintendo Switch Pro redesign. The article says, for the past few months, there have been several rumors that Nintendo was planning to release an upgraded or redesigned Switch model, likely as soon as 2019. This alleged new model would feature many hardware improvements such as better screen and battery, and also the possibility of a spec bump, thus resulting in higher performance. This is similar to what Nintendo has done in the past, mainly with its handhelds, and would be similar to what happened with the PS4 Pro, Xbox One X. Still, these have just been rumors now, though officially Nintendo of America President and COO Reggie Fils-Aime has actually given an official statement on the matter as part of a recent interview with Forbes, and as one would expect, Reggie didn't actually provide a concrete answer, because Nintendo, everyone, he actually skirted the question, simply stating that his current focus is continuing the momentum of the Switch we all know and love right now. Here's the full comment. I have to just channel my inner Reggie. Right now, as we go into our second holiday season, my focus is making sure the current gray and neon Switch continue to have momentum in the marketplace. You saw systems, whether it's our own or competitive home console systems, utilize that tactic a bit later in the life cycle. So right now, the current execution of Nintendo Switch with the Joy-Con and all of the capabilities, that's our focus right now. I don't know what this posture was. I was just doing this posture. That's my Reggie.
It's how they tell the presidents or whoever to always, like, never point. Just, like, put your thumb up. And it's like, well, that makes you look even stupider.
He does do that.
Yeah, he does this, and he gets his shoulders up, and he'll be like this. And when he talks, his mouth is really wide. He'll be like, right now.
Yeah, and he does that.
And he'll be like, I don't know.
Good old Reggie. So, I mean,
It's a fun last name.
It's a Fils-Aime?
Yeah, it's a fun last name in my opinion. Because
Took
it's
me a moment
spelled
to read it,
very
and I was like,
weird.
Fils-Aime?
Yeah. I guess it's not normal for Floridians.
It's kind of Frenchy. It's kind of Frenchish.
It has a hyphen in it.
Fils-Aime. Reggie Fils-Aime. It's like Reggie's like such a white Archie Comics name, and then it's Fils-Aime. It's like, what? Anyways, that's a pretty typical Nintendo non-answer.
Yeah.
But he didn't say no.
I want to say, before people begin commenting that, like, oh, Nintendo would never release a new version of the Switch, they've literally done it with every... I feel this is like the thing that I'm always obligated to say, but they've literally done this with almost every single console they've ever released, except the Wii U and the Virtual Boy. And even the Wii U, they launched with 2 different versions, one with just a larger hard drive. That was it. But literally every other console, like even home consoles, the Famicom had the Famicom Disk System, which is what the original Zelda first released on, that gave it better sound processing, better colors, I think, allowed you to actually save your game files, and added a bunch of other improvements. The Super Nintendo had the BS system, or the Satellaview, that let you play the BS games, which is where we get some of those, the 3 BS Zelda games, the Ancient Stone tablets and the others.
That's broadcast satellite, not what you guys were thinking.
Yeah, it lets you basically download games to play on your cartridges and stuff. And then the Nintendo 64 had the 64 disk drive. The GameCube had the broadband Ethernet adapter.
I thought you were saying the GameCube had the Wii.
No, the GameCube had the broadband Ethernet adapter that allowed you to play games online.
That makes sense.
They had the Game Boy Advance adapter that let you play Game Boy Advance games, as well as some other things that you could plug into the bottom of it. The Wii and the Wii U is where it gets like less upgradey, because the Wii only had the new version of the Wii that was like red, but it was more of a downgrade because it took away online capability and the GameCube controllers, which meant playing Brawl was crappy on it.
But it had like the Wii Mini as well.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that
the
is
new Wii.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
and then
the new. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
And then the handheld consoles, of course, are the ones that are more familiar with people. The original Game Boy had like the Pocket Game Boy and everything, and then eventually the Game Boy Color. The Game Boy Advance had the Game Boy Advance SP. The Nintendo DS had the DSi, DSi XL, the DS Lite, whatever else. The 3DS had the 3DS XL, the new 3DS, the new 3DS XL, 2DS, new 2DS XL, and all of those came after Miyamoto told us that Nintendo would never release a new version of the 3DS because the 3DS was basically already perfect. And then weeks later, the 3DS XL is announced, and everyone looks at Miyamoto and is like, "Why did you lie to us?" Yeah.
Because surprises.
Exactly. And then with the Nintendo Switch, like, it would be more likely if Nintendo followed their pattern to release a new version of the Switch than it would be to not release one. And with this quote, he doesn't even say, "No, we're not going to release a new version of the Switch." He says at the beginning of it, "Our main focus is making sure the current gray and neon Switch version," which means, or implies, new versions are going to come out later. And then he ends it once again saying the current execution of the Nintendo Switch. And this one is even odder because, anyways, he says the current execution of Nintendo Switch with the Joy-Con and all of the capabilities, that's our focus right now. Which makes me think, are they planning an execution of the Nintendo Switch without the Joy-Cons?
No, don't kill the Switch. It's an execution, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna be like, also, I just got it this summer.
Something I hear from a lot of people is that Nintendo would never do that because then you wouldn't be able to play a game in handheld mode as well as docked mode if it could just do one or the other. But there are already games on the Nintendo Switch that you can only play in handheld mode, and there are already games that you can only play in docked mode. Like there is, I forgot what the name of the game is, but there's one on the eShop that came out like as soon as the Switch launched. You could only play with motion control, so you could not play it in like the normal handheld mode. You had to put it in the dock or take it out of the dock and then use the Joy-Con. And then, so that game would not be playable, presumably, with this version that's without the Joy-Con. And then there are also games that are only able to be played with touchscreen on the Nintendo Switch. And if you're playing on the TV, you can't use the touchscreen. So, yeah. Nintendo already has games released that you can only play either in docked or games that you can only play in handheld. So,
and you can only fluff Pikachu's hair if you've got it in handheld mode.
Yeah. So people saying that Nintendo would not do this because it defeats the purpose. They've already released games like this, similar to how they had games on the 3DS that could only play on the new 3DS XL, which gets even weirder because you had games like New Super Mario Brothers, which could play on the old 3DS and the new 3DS, but then you had games without new in the title that you could only play on the new 3DS. So, again, the people that say Nintendo would never do something like this, they've been doing something like this, so please stop.
Nintendo is
Please
a
do
weird
research before you comment.
They're so weird with their hardware and their naming schemes.
Yeah.
Yep. And also Nintendo is inherently a wild card as well. Like, even just saying, like, Nintendo would never do something, even sometimes Nintendo says Nintendo will never do something, and then they do it, so...
Mobile gaming.
Yeah, just like mobile gaming, yeah. So,
Mario movies.
It's really hard to say anything like that with such certainty, because Nintendo's a wild card. They will just do whatever they want to do. Yep.
It's true.
What I think I brought this up on the podcast before. First of all, everyone always Nintendo's like, Joy-Cons are so great, but the Pro Controller is so perfect. Nintendo, you don't realize this. You have something so amazing, and you're like, the Joy-Cons though are so special. And I'm like, this Pro Controller is so good. Don't overlook this. Not to say the Joy-Cons are bad, because I have like literally 3 pairs of Joy-Cons, but
Oh, I need another pair so bad.
the Pro Controller is really, really great, Nintendo.
It reminds me of like sushi.
The Pro Controller reminds you of sushi?
Yeah.
Ew.
How? What?
Why?
I don't understand.
I don't know. I thought it was obvious. Continue, Daniel.
But okay. I've mentioned this on the podcast in the past, but instead of making a new Switch console that's like a Pro version, you make a Pro dock, and then people just buy the dock as like a peripheral for the Switch.
Maybe that's
the
what
Pro
I meant.
dock having some hardware built in that's like still basically compatible with the Switch. The Switch itself as a console doesn't change, but the Pro dock adds some extra kick to the console.
Ooh.
Without you having to buy a new Switch. You just
Yeah.
you spend
Yes,
like say
please.
$100 on an accessory on a Pro dock, and then you can still take your game in handheld mode and it still works, whatever, it's still the Switch, but then you plug into the Pro dock and then it like gives it a nice hardware boost, overclocks or whatever, you know, technical jargon that I don't know, and then that would be really cool. And then also, again, instead of buying an extra Switch, an extra $300, $400 console, you just spend $100 or $80 on a dock, and basically gives it the same effect. And I think that way, because then if you have a Pro Switch, a lot of people who already have a Switch are not going to buy the Pro Switch, and then people who are the diehards will. I probably wouldn't buy a second one. I don't know.
I can't afford that.
But if you did the Pro dock or whatever, I think a lot more people would actually buy that, because they'd be like, okay, I don't have to buy a whole new console. I can keep everything without transferring over my save data and everything, and bada bing, bada boom, easy peasy. Nintendo, listen to me, easy. So
Finger guns.
Pew, 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 pews.
Yeah. So what you said, his last statement there, because he referenced the Joy-Cons twice. When he said the current iteration with the Joy-Cons or whatever, because the first one was
Right.
like the current Switch with the gray and the neon Joy-Cons, and then later on he says the current Switch with the Joy-Cons and other capabilities. So that makes me wonder, like, why does he keep referencing Joy-Cons with it? Are they planning a version without Joy-Cons? Then that could just be like its own handheld version that doesn't have a dock, like the mini Switch that people rumored before, or it could just be a version of the Switch that is just the dock that you use to upgrade the Switch. So, yeah. And then with the price point, a lot of people think, oh, if they made a dock that's more powerful, it would cost more or as much as the Switch is now. And I'm thinking, no, you could, like, all it would need to be is just the GPU. And you can buy a GPU for like $100 or $150 that would let you play current Nintendo. Yeah, like it would literally let you play current Nintendo Switch games in close to 4K. Because I've personally used GPUs cheaper than like $150 to play indie games at 4K or to emulate certain Wii games at 4K.
Oh.
So $150 GPUs, especially by the time this would release next year, where you could get even more powerful GPUs for only $100 to $150, would be more than capable.
Also, Sephi Wolf 44 in the chat says clear Joy-Cons confirmed. Yo.
Ew.
Clear
No,
Joy-Cons.
if it's like
People
the
already
Pro controller's got that kind of clear design.
Yeah.
I think that would look good. I like that. But maybe
I've
think about those
never liked
old, think about
transparent.
the old N64 controllers and Jungle
Ew.
Green N64 and the like old Game Boy Advances. I love
Do you remember
those. I love
the
it.
Pikachu
It's
Nintendo
so-
64?
It was the
Oh,
inside.
yeah.
Can I get a Switch that is similar to the
clear The clear controllers. It's good.
I mean, I have a
Good,
ton of
Ilya.
clear stuff.
It's
My
so good.
my Game Boy Advance, the long one, is clear. We have a red-ish, pinkish, and a few other controllers that are all clear, purple and stuff, because that's all we could find that was cheap.
Why,
I don't like
did
seeing the
why'd they
guts of the
stop doing
controllers.
those? I don't know. It's got this look that appeals to me. It's my inner '90s kid, but I just I don't know. It speaks to me, and I don't know. Like I'm into if it's not clear, it's got to be matte because I hate glossy controllers. Like the Wii U Pro controllers, super glossy, and it's just like, oh, there you go. And hey, detective, you want my fingerprints?
So Luke and Gibbz
terrible.
in the chat.
Are you guilty of something?
Luke says Dolphin Emu is highly processor focused. It is, for the most part. The CPU does the emulation, but the GPU is responsible for shadows and textures and the actual resolution of it. Like if you want to upgrade the resolution from like the standard 480p to 4K, that is reliant on the GPU, not the CPU. And any post-processing effects that you have. And for Gibbz, the external GPUs are what Daniel and I were referencing, to where they have the ones that you can just plug in with the USB-C and do that.
Yeah. So if they do that with a dock, which uses USB-C.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
true.
Oh my goodness. See, guys, I'm a genius. No,
Yeah.
I'm not very tech savvy at all.
So Ilya, would you buy
Yes.
this new Switch dock thing, Switch Mini?
New Switch dock thing, I would at least try to save for it to see if it was like worth it enough for me. New Switch? No.
Okay.
It took me like the Switch came out March 2017 and I got mine as a birthday gift, which used like all of our money, June of 2018. Because I cannot just buy new consoles. That's not possible.
All right. What about
So if there was
this?
a new Switch, I'd be like, please don't make anything exclusive on it because I will be very upset.
Okay, so in the same way that they had a Pikachu Nintendo 64 that had like Pikachu's face built onto the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I remember that.
What if they had a Switch dock or a Switch that had Daniel's face just built?
Oh, see, I thought you were going to say Pikachu. I was like, they have that. But
I was gonna be like, yeah, they do, and I prefer my Switch completely plain.
So no Daniel
Oh, I
face
put a
Switch.
Twilight Princess Golden Shield on my Wii sticker.
Oh.
But
So no Daniel dock.
no
And it's
offense,
me,
but
like-
I'm good.
it's me like
You don't want a
Yeah.
Daniel.
feet up, and I'm like,
No, it's him in the middle of sliding in from the back, going.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
through my slide.
And then it's not even on the back of the Switch or the dock. It's overlaid on top of the screen, so you can only see like half the screen.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's terrible.
All right, I think we can move to the next news story.
Okay.
Ilya, would you like to take it?
Which one?
Tantalus.
What?
Tantalus.
I thought you said Tampalus.
That's what I heard too.
Tentacle.
Tentacles.
Okay.
Tentacles.
Tentacleless.
Yep. Yep, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
Oh yeah.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Ilya Rose. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like and comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the GameOverJesse channel, please consider purchasing a GameOverJesse t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJesse, and much, much more.